the same rights, etc. But there are benefits. There are other things that people need to realize that we have to still fight for in terms of equal protection under the law in housing, equal protection under the law in employment and throughout the nation, and having some sort of amendment or adding us to the amendment that protects people of race, color, creed, et cetera, religion from discrimination, adding us to that amendment, being sexual orientation is also included in that, and also sexual gender identity. These things should be included as well. Also, beyond just the gay rights movement itself, we have to continue to realize that, we have the GLBTQIA community, and now there's like a 2 on the end of it or something. There's all these acronyms, and we keep adding more and more acronyms to our fight, and that's okay with me if it makes sense, right? But we have gays and lesbians. When gays and lesbians, of course, have a great Tristan, I opened the chat room. I'm in the chat room right now, and I'm talking in there, chat. So I'm not sure why you can't get in there, but I'm in there right now, and I'm chatting away. So it may just be your computer or I'm not sure. But anyway, so we still have things to fight for. And so we have the gay and lesbians who have garnered the majority of the rights in the LGBT, rights movement, for our community, because we've been the most visible and the most, I don't know, recognizable of the community. But there's also bi people who are part of our community as well. But GLBT, the T, of course, standing for transgender or transsexual, depending on who you ask. Transgender, I think, is a more appropriate term. I think they really do not have the same equality that gays and lesbians have. They're not on the same level as we have at the moment. And so I think that they definitely need to have, I think they need to be the next on the list. And so in terms of actually being able to acquire the same rights that we as gays and lesbians have, in terms of being able to get married and things like that. I think, I'm not sure actually it doesn't include, it says gays and lesbians, or you can't deny people based on the right of being gay or lesbian, but I don't believe it said anything about transgender people. And I don't know, some states recognize people of a transgender person as their new sex, and other people recognize them as their old sex, and other people don't recognize them at all. So I think that's the next kind of frontier in our fight for equality. I think they certainly do need to be able to somehow figure that out. But anyway, so, after we've climbed this hurdle of gay marriage, I think the next thing is, of course, transgender rights, as I said. Also, just kind of remembering, as I said, to get equality in every way under the law, the same kind of protections from that other minorities in this country have, as African Americans, immigrants, or anybody, or just people who are here. Anybody that's here have the same equality under the law and the constitutional rights that we should be afforded, so that we are treated the same. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's always been about, simply being treated the same, equally. And I don't understand why that concept is so fucking difficult for people to grasp. When you say you want equality, it means you want equality. And of course, most of the problem is religion and people who have been have had their brains brainwashed by their religious belief systems and are continuing to harp on what they were taught as a child and so forth, instead of actually using their fucking brain. And actually, people don't typically know gay people who are like that. They have, we gay people, gay, lesbian, whatever, have been vilified by media, society, movies, films, churches, of course, and people like that, and have been painted in a particular light, when in reality, we are something far better, more magnificent than that could ever be. And very, 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 very few people actually resemble the caricature that is painted of we as gay people in a stereotypical fashion. Typically, we're just normal people like everybody else. So anyway, I think it's really great that we have gay rights in all 50 states now. It now means that my marriage is recognized. We got married in Connecticut in 2009, and so our marriage is now recognized by the state of Texas, where we live, whether they like it or not. all taxes, all estate, all Social Security inheritances and benefits and estate taxes and everything, capital gains, everything that everyone else gets that's married, we now get as well. So it's fucking amazing and great. Also, this week has been a really bad week for the conservatives in the world because of obviously gay marriage being the biggest of them all. But I think there was I know I read something about, where did I read that? I read something, I'm trying to remember where I read it, on my Facebook page or somewhere that was about, somebody had posted something about gay rights or something. Oh, I know what it was. People kept saying, oh my God, I'm going to move to Canada. I'm going to move to Canada now that gay rights is legal. What's happening to my country? God would be shocked. God is rolling over in his grave, or whatever they're saying, and about how horrible it is that we are getting our equality in this country. And honestly, we are, what's funny about that is that they keep saying, I'm going to move to Canada. I'm going to move to Canada. Well, Canada has had gay marriage legalized for 10 years. So to continue to say that doesn't make any fucking sense. You're going to move from the United States where they now have afforded gay marriage to move to somewhere else where gay marriage is also legal. Makes no fucking sense at all, obviously. So anyway, the good news is that people can now protect themselves. Marriage has so much, what's the word? Has so many benefits to it and protections legally that I think it's important that people actually, kind of figure out whether they're going to get married or not. But the other question is, is it a good idea to get married or not? And how will that change gay culture or whatever? Well, I don't think it'll change it much at all, because I think that, people have been getting married or having ceremonies or commitment ceremonies or whatever for a very long time, long before gay marriage was even a possibility in the minds of people. So it's not like it's going to change anything in that fashion or our culture. Not a lot, but there's a certain segment of the gay population that actually, yeah, I agree, Tristan. The gay population that's waiting for some sort of that says actually that we as gays getting married somehow takes away our gayness or whatever, because as if being gay is all about being promiscuous or having open sex or going to clubs and shit like that, which is all stereotypes and stuff, which is not true of, I think, even most gay people, and maybe to some degree, but just like any heterosexual girls and guys do the same shit, So, but my point is that they often say that we're losing our gayness, what makes us unique. And I think that the whole point of being, having gay marriage and equality under the law is that we want to be just like everybody else. It doesn't mean be in terms of our choices and our culture, but it means be in terms of being equal under the law and in the eyes of others, of society. So of course we want to be the same as everybody else, in my opinion, in that sense. But it's just never going to change the fact that we're fabulous and we're fantastic and we're great and we're wonderful and we have great sense of style, and the gays do, generally speaking, and the lesbians are really good at woodworking, and I'm just kidding. So I mean, it's like we are who we are. That's not going to ever change us in terms of what we are. In terms of our culture, I think it'll mean that we now can focus in terms of our plight and our fight and our quote unquote agenda. We can now focus on what else is important for our civil liberties and our rights, as I mentioned earlier. Focus on those things and now move our focus from fighting for something that we've gained finally after such a long struggle to other things that are just as important. For example, like teen suicide in the gay community and bigotry in the gay community, both racially and financially, I don't know what the word is for that, or socioeconomically, I guess. There's all sorts of things that within the gay community that need to be handled as well. Homelessness, suicide, poverty, that people don't really talk about or address. And one of the things is that people, look at gay people as a whole and think that all gay people are wealthy because we don't have kids, generally speaking, and all gay people are, just dress the best, and I don't know what the word, all the stereotypes about gay people in general, which typically is about gay men, not necessarily everybody else in the gay community, which is not true. I think that the majority of gay men and gay women are just average people. They have average jobs, and they have, they're making ends meet just like everybody else, and they're doing what they can to make a life for themselves, whether that be with a partner or whether it be by themselves or with kids or without kids or whatever. They're struggling with medical issues and illnesses and bills, insurance issues. I don't know what else. I mean, all sorts of every problem that a heterosexual has, gay people have as well. And so there are issues that are prevalent within our own community that I think that we need to focus on and fight for as well as the things we've been fighting for already. So I hope that we will turn our attention to that and also be kinder to each other as a community and actually look out for each other. I think that one of the great things about being a community, as we are, is having the power of that community behind you. And as you've seen, as we've accomplished with gay marriage, we can accomplish anything. If it's fair, we can fight for it. If it's something that's dear to our hearts, we can fight for it. In the 80s, early 80s, what brought the gay community together primarily was the AIDS crisis, because no one was doing anything about all of these gay men specifically. I mean, there were gay women too and heterosexuals, but generally in the beginning, it was mostly gay men dying of AIDS. Excuse me. And no one, the government, no one was doing anything about it because they had ACT UP, and we had all these other groups doing something about it, gay men's health crisis, whatever. But that brought us together as a community, and that was our common goal. I think in the 90s, it was more about kind of gay rights in terms of just having equality as everyday people. And then, 2000s and now it's been mostly about gay marriage. So I don't know what the next big thing will be. As I said, I think it probably will be transgender rights and that sort of thing. But in terms of just gay and lesbian rights, I think, the things I mentioned are important. But anyway, turning our attention a little from the gay rights thing, the other thing that's happened recently was that the Supreme Court ruled that I can't remember what the actual ruling was. I'm sorry, about the Confederate flag and how there's a constitutional right, or how it's banned from government institutions and that sort of thing. And I was surprised that this was even something that was a question to people. Of course, when it comes to bigotry, it's been around for so fucking long. People continue to hang on to their traditions or whatever. And I'm all for tradition, fine, whatever. You have traditions, whatever, that's fine. But this is my feeling on this whole Confederate flag thing. I feel this, and some people may disagree with me, but I feel that if you are an individual, you're redneck, whatever, some rebellious type or motorcycle gang person, or I don't know what the fuck ever, the kind of people who wear the fucking Confederate rebel flag, battle flag on their chest or their coat or their car, or fly the flag in their home or whatever, fine. I don't give a fuck. If you want to fly the fucking swastika, I don't care. You have the right to fly your flag wherever you want to. If your own private home, on your own person, you want to wear it, whatever, look like a fucking moron wearing it, fine, go right ahead. But I do draw the line, and this is where I agree with the ruling, when it comes to governmental institutions, because it doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense to fly the battle flag for the Confederacy when they were the traitors to the United States of America. To fly that right next to the United States flag makes no fucking sense at all. And it doesn't, it's offensive. People keep saying, or have said, that the Civil War was not about race, and it was about, economy, it was about this and that bullshit. Everybody knows the fucking Civil War was about fucking slavery. Whether it was for economic reasons or moral reasons or whatever, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, it boils down that it was too about slavery. And that flag represents to people who are black, especially, and have black ancestors who were slaves, including myself. My dad's side of my family's black, so I had members of my dad's family, many generations before, that were probably slaves. I don't know that for a fact, because on his side, I've only got traced to like 1800 or something, because they were probably slaves. But anyway, I think that it's important to remember that this is an offensive emblem to people, just as the swastika would be incredibly offensive to Jews. So can you imagine if we had the swastika flying around on our governmental institutions or anywhere as a public space, and